Welcome to Around the World Today, episode 23 of Series 7. This is our final glimpse in the mini-series on devolution in the United Kingdom. Today we are focusing on Scotland, a nation with a unique journey of devolution that has redefined its relationship with the United Kingdom. We explore Scotland's devolved powers, the role of the Scottish Parliament, and the evolving political dynamics that continue to shape the nation's future. Devolution in Scotland started with the passage of the Scotland Act 1998, which established the Scottish Parliament in Edinburgh. This Parliament has substantial powers over areas such as health, education, justice. Over the years, these powers have expanded, notably with the Scotland Act 2016, which granted increased autonomies in areas like taxation and welfare. Scotland has seen significant achievements under devolution, including progressive policies in health and education, free university tuition, a strong focus on renewable energy. However, challenges remain practically in addressing economic disparities and navigating the future within the United Kingdom, especially post-Brexit. The Scottish independence referendum in 2014, while resulting in a no vote, showcased the deep political engagement of its people. Calls for a second referendum continue to highlight tension between Scotland's aspirations for greater self-determination and its place within the United Kingdom. Devolution in Scotland, as I said, was formally begun in 1998. This was on the back, like everywhere else, on a referendum that was held in 1997. The referendum was a yes-no vote for the Scottish Parliament to be in Edinburgh, and they were going to have control of things such as justice. Well, they do have control of justice, health, education, enabling Scotland to address issues more effectively at the local level. This framework gives Scots greater control over their affairs while maintaining their place within the United Kingdom. Expansion of the powers became effect in 2016. This was on the back of the referendum that was held in 2014. Whilst this is a landmark of more transfer of powers, these were over income tax, bans of social security, and borrowing. These new powers represented a shift towards their increased autonomy, reflecting that Scotland's desire to shape its economic and social policies independently. However, this greater autonomy also brought increased accountability for policy outcomes. So, Scotland before 1707, even 1707, was run independently from England, and they became part as one, and they joined, and then in 1998 they got their own parliament back. Basically, go and read about the Acts of Union. Very interesting. So the Scotland Act gave them the powers for certain things. The Act was amended in 2004, and in 2014 the Act has been amended by the Scottish Parliament's Constituencies Act 2004, the Constitutional Reform Act 2005, the Scotland Act 2012, the Wales Act 2014, I didn't know that anyway, the Scotland Act 2016, the European Union Withdrawal Bill, or Act 2018. They have got more or power. They control their justice system, their police. They're a little bit like Northern Ireland. This is why I've left these two, because like Wales, when we talked about Wales, it was a bit different because like we share justice systems and stuff with England, where Scotland doesn't. They have their own court system. They have their own judiciary. They have their own laws in some instances too. Some achievements in the devolution. Scotland has leveraged its devolved powers to implement progressive policies that reflect the priorities and values of its citizens. Initiatives like free university tuition and prescription charges, along with ambitious targets for renewable energy, have positioned Scotland as a leader in social and environmental reform. The Scottish Government's commitment to combating climate change has also resulted in notable achievements, including significant investments in wind energy and other renewable technologies. These policies have set Scotland apart within the UK, showcasing the potential of devolved governance to address local needs. But there has been some challenges, hasn't there? Challenges and economic disparities. Despite its success, devolution in Scotland has faced challenges. Economic disparities remain a pressing issue, with significant inequalities between urban centres like Edinburgh and Glasgow and rural or economically deprived areas. The added strain of Brexit has further complicated the landscape, practically regarding trade and Scotland's relationship with the European Union. The Scotland's government's preference for remaining in the European Union contrasted sharply with the UK-wide vote to leave, highlighting divisions that continue to influence the political debate and discourse within Scotland. We are coming to independence and the talk about it. So, in 2014, Scotland had a referendum in which 55% of Scottish people voted to remain in the United Kingdom. This was a pivotal moment for Scotland. It demonstrated that the nation's deep political engagement and raised questions about the balance of power within the United Kingdom. In recent years, calls for a second referendum driven by Brexit and challenging political dynamics have just, to tell you the truth, right, we haven't heard much about this for a couple of months now. I'm expecting it with a new government. I really am. But I don't know. The vote was yes or no. 55.30% of the electorate who voted no. 44.70% of the electorate who voted yes. So the vote won with a 10%. Sorry, 0.9. That's invalid. Valid votes 99.9. So there was over 3 million votes cast. Registered voters 4 million. So 1 million didn't even turn out. Invalid votes 3,429. That's 0.9%. So the vote got 55% of the vote. There was a 10% margin. Well, 11% margin. Sorry, maths has never been my thing. I have to work it out. But yes, the Scottish Independence Referendum Act 2013 set out arrangements for the referendum, which was passed by the Scottish Parliament in November 2013, following an agreement between the devolved Scottish Government and the Government of the United Kingdom. The independence proposal required a simple majority to pass. All European Union, EU, or Commonwealth citizens residing in Scotland, aged 16 or above, could vote. Some exceptions which produced a total electorate of almost 430,000 people. This is the first time that the electoral franchise was extended to include 16 to 17-year-olds in Scotland. The arguments were, for Yes Scotland, the main campaign group for independence, and the Better Together was the one remaining for the Union. Okay, so that's that. Politically, so there were many other organisations that were campaigning. There were campaign groups, political parties were involved, businesses, newspapers. It was quite, I live in Wales and we heard all about it. It was the precursor to Brexit, right? Now, there are many arguments about Scottish independence. There were the question itself was asked as, okay, so the Edinburgh Agreement stated that the wording of the question would be decided by the Scottish Parliament and reviewed for if it was right to use that by the Electoral Commission. The Scottish Government stated that its preferred question was, do you agree that Scotland should be an independent country? The Electoral Commission tested the proposed question, along with 3 other possible versions. The research found that do you agree preference made it a leading question, which would be more likely to gain a positive response. The question was amended to, should Scotland be an independent country, which the Electoral Commission found was most neutral and easier to be used. Well, yes, it is, isn't it? If I say, do you agree? Do you agree that a certain person is an idiot? You can't help but say yes or no. You either agree or you don't agree. Now, there's no common thing about it. Do you agree that my laptop is green? Do you know what I mean? And it's black. So, yeah. It is quite leading, and it's the way it's phrased. But, like I said, it didn't go through. However, there are greater calls for independence. Personally, I can't see it happening. I really can't. Not yet. And this is why the Scottish Government haven't mentioned it. Yeah, we've just had an election in this country, and the SNP lost some seats. As we conclude the mini-series, let's reflect on the diverse experience of devolution across the United Kingdom. In episode 19, we began with an overview of devolution, exploring its origins, principles, and significance in the United Kingdom. In episode 20, our journey continued in Wales, where devolution has empowered the Senedd to enact distinctive policies tailored to the Welsh needs. In episode 22, we were in Northern Ireland. We delved into the complexities of power sharing and the enduring challenges of political stability. And today, Scotland's story underscores the dynamic interplay between autonomy and unity, reflecting that both achievements and ongoing debates. Devolution has profoundly reshaped the United Kingdom's governance, highlighting the diversity of nations and the unique challenges they face as their political landscapes continue to evolve. Understanding these distinct journeys is essential for our United Kingdom's future and for us to grow. So, thank you for joining me on this exploration of devolution across the United Kingdom. I hope this mini-series has helped understand little parts of devolution. There are many differences, there are many similarities, there are in people's aspirations and in the life of these entities. For me, I live in Wales, and we talked about Wales in episode 20, and we saw that there are many differences on what each devolved state has. We've previously talked about the British Overseas Territories and how they have different relationships. We, in time, will talk about another set of British territories. Actually, we did touch on them, the Crown dependencies. Now, wouldn't it just be easier if we all had one UK government for defence, security, trade, prosperity, and then devolved parliaments, like a United Kingdom that is actually united? Where we all have the same, legal powers. We are all equal. But, we'll get there in the end, I hope. From what I've learned over the two little mini-series within Series 7 that we've done on devolution and on the British Overseas Territories, is that we're all British. We all share that thing, although we may be from Wales or we may be from Scotland or Bermuda or the Falkland Islands, Gibraltar, Leicester, Swansea. Do you know what I mean? Naming places now. London, Aberdeen, Belfast, Derry. Do you know what I mean? We're all from there, but we're all British. We may be Irish, you know, as well. Northern Irish, Northern Irish British, Northern Irish Irish, you know, Irish. But we dig down because yeah, we're all British, but we're also all humans. So yeah. So if you've enjoyed this little journey, don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts on this episode. Let's keep the conversation going as we look ahead to Christmas. Our special, that's like going to drop on Christmas Day, and our year-end roundup next week. So stay curious and keep exploring.
And that's it for this week's episode. Add us to your podcatcher or on iTunes now so that you can make sure you never miss out on another second of our wonderful podcast. We would hate for you to miss out. Have a great week, everyone.